and short of it is Alexis Sanchez's people, led by his agent Filicevic, they're trying to work a deal. Obviously, it's been reported that that there was a deal lined up with Manchester City, £50 million. Arsenal said no. Then they discussed putting Raheem Sterling in the deal. Then City said no. The thinking in London, the rumor was that at 70 million, this deal gets done. There's very little time to do it, but all the paperwork in terms of mandates and things like that has already been signed and is ready from Alexis Sanchez's camp. Of course, he kicks off for Chile against Paraguay half an hour after the transfer window closes on Thursday, so that should be interesting too. But it's a question of whether the two sides can agree terms, and it's a question also, I think, internally at City of figuring out what impact this may have on the likes of Sergio Aguero and Gabriel Jesus as well.
The Telegraph, meanwhile, boys reporting today that the players have had enough. The Arsenal players want to see him gone. They've had enough of all of this contract talk, everything that has just kind of been upsetting the squad, and they want to see the back.
I think if City are desperate enough, and we know he wants to go, I think he'll be a City player come transfer deadline tomorrow. As for the Arsenal players wanting to go, you could ship out every one of those Arsenal players from the weekend. Do you think Alexis Sanchez wants to play with us? Do you? You think Alexis Sanchez wants to play with that back three? Do you think Alexis Sanchez wants to see a 50 million striker on the bench that's signed in the summer? Huh? Do you think Alexis Sanchez, and I said it before, wants to stay at a club when Arsene Wenger was taking 6 months to decide if he was going to stay or not and win the odd FA Cup? Then it's not about the other players, it's about Alexis Sanchez himself.
From a player's perspective, can you understand where they're coming from at all?
No. Absolutely not. No, I've never heard of it before, that players getting together and deciding that they want somebody at the door. I think the problem is it's too easy now to come up with stuff like that at Arsenal. And the fact that you've got a 24-year-old in Oxlade-Chamberlain turning down 180 grand a week to get away from that place tells you that the whole place is in a shambles. It's not just one guy that's causing the problems. The whole place seems to be in a complete upheaval.
Go on, Gab.
No, Dan, I just want to say, from a journalist perspective, from a media perspective, I know how these stories get put out there. I don't know exactly who the players are, but you know what? You can go through the Arsenal lineup and figure it out pretty darn quickly, because, frankly, you look at these players and you take away the players who've been itching for a move, like Hector Bellerin, for example. You take away guys like Ozil and Alexis Sanchez, who have contracts winding down. You take out the guys who've been there for, 18 months or less, from Welbeck to guys like that. It's really only 2 or 3 players that we're talking about. Let's be very clear, and I think it can take an Arsenal blogger about 45 seconds to figure out exactly who is bad-mouthing Alexis Sanchez to the media. It's not difficult.
So if you have players that don't want Alexis Sanchez there, and Alexis Sanchez doesn't want to be there, then what are we talking about? This is all about whether Manchester City can come up with a number that Arsenal can be comfortable with. The truth is that Arsenal loses the way that they did against Liverpool. There is no real hope for Arsenal, not this season. And so if I look at it, I say, you know what, I might as well cash in, because we're going nowhere anytime quickly. If I'm Arsene Wenger, I'm turning my back on this season, because everybody else is.
It's a sorry tale. I mean, we're only... my goodness, August is just coming to an end. The season's just started.
Why are you pointing at the clock and say August? There's a calendar up there.
There's no date.
It doesn't say 30th of August, is it? So, Arsenal fans, I mean, they should be looking forward to the transfer window to see who they can bring in, just on the off chance that actually Arsenal do have interest in right on deadline day. But we're looking at an exodus. We're looking at stories of unhappy players. We're looking at the main man, whether he's going to go to City or not. And it's all down to one thing. The fact, and I'll keep going over it, it's down to one thing, that they didn't change the coaching setup in the summer, so therefore they're playing the same game that they play every transfer window. And it's just a horrible, horrible mess.
So, Gab, can you give Arsenal any sort of positive news, Arsenal fans? Are they going to make some signings over the next 24 hours?
By the way, I haven't even mentioned the fact that Gibbs is gone to West Brom. Mustafi's on his way out. I don't know if that's positive news or not, but they're working on things. They've identified. This is post Liverpool. I was told that they'd have identified 4 or 5 players, and they hope to sign 2 or 3 of them.